that doesn't justify what was said whatsoever. But when that came to our knowledge, this mosque decided to sever relations immediately and took action and barred him from preaching.
Every time you hear an extremist remark, a hateful remark, a remark that is inciting violence, how do you feel?
But when it's done in the name of my faith, I feel that my faith has been hijacked, has been used for what it was never meant to be used for. And that has happened in the name of every faith. Remember that the KKK justified unimaginable killing and lynching and violence by quoting from the Bible, by laying claim to the cross. And yet nobody sees them as representing what Christianity is. And I'm saying that Muslims deserve the same courtesy.
What do you say to people who firmly believe the Quran preaches violence, the killing of infidels, non-Muslims, and they think it is in the religious texts?
I would respond by inviting them to read the Quran. The Quran, like other sacred texts, talks about a lot of different themes. And yes, there are verses about war and peace.
About violence?
There are verses in every single sacred text that could be interpreted to be about violence, which don't make up even a couple % of the Quran, or for that matter, a couple % of the Torah or the Bible.
He shared with me a passage that he believes embodies what Islam is all about.
In Arabic, it says, أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد. It says, whomever kills a single soul, it's as if they have killed all of humanity. And whomever gives life to a single soul, it's as if they have given life to all of humanity.
So if this is the heart of Islam, why are we so quick to associate it with terror? The answer may surprise you. When you hear there's been a terrorist attack, what goes through your head?
Let it be a white dude. God, let it be a white dude.
Back in New York, I kept thinking of what the Imam in Raleigh said, that he felt his religion had been hijacked by a small group of extremists. So I met up with Wajahat Ali, who's written extensively about Islamophobia.
All right, here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to Burgers.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Nice to meet you, Katie. I'm Salman.
Wajahat, I'm Katie's Muslim friend.
Wajahat, nice to meet
Apparently
you.
one of 5 now.
We met for lunch at a burger joint that prepares food according to Islamic law. So you all have to help me out. What exactly is halal?
Halal is a process by which you slaughter the animal. And you take God's name, and it's supposed to be done in a very humane way, and from beginning to end.
Well, that's like, I guess, someone who keeps kosher, correct?
It's the Muslim version of kosher.
So over my veggie burger and Waj's classic, I asked him how our views of Muslims have been shaped, and in some cases, distorted. When you hear there's been a terrorist attack, what goes through your head?
Let it be a white dude. God, let it be a white dude. Not because I have anything against the white dudes, but we know when it's a Muslim-y dude, all of Islam, whoever represents Islam, is under interrogation.
People feel, though, that white supremacists or extremists don't do it in the name of their faith.
Yeah.
They're not yelling,
Allahu Akbar.
God is great.
No. But they are committing it in the service of an ideology. Look, extremists hijack history, they hijack identity, they hijack religion. Counterterrorism experts say that most of these individuals, when you take away the superficial dressings, they're very similar. Angry, dislocated men and women who find an online community and they say, join us, come to this cause. And the way for you to further your cause is through violence.
Breaking news in that deadly church shooting in Charleston, South Carolina.
Investigating Page's ties to white supremacist groups.
Multiple casualties, multiple wounded.
In fact, since 9/11, right-wing extremists have been responsible for nearly 3 times the number of violent incidents as Muslim extremists. But when I hear a Muslim name following a terrorist attack, it ignites fear for me, even though I know intellectually it shouldn't, about Muslims writ large. Why is that?
It's because it's been programmed, subtly and unsubtly, for decades. The story of Islam and American Muslims has been written and told to us by others who have framed us as terrorists and villains.
Hollywood movies.
Back to the Future. True Lies.
Crimson Jihad is now a nuclear power.
If you're, say, an average American watching Homeland, you would be like, holy crap, Muslims are terrifying, because even the main protagonist was a white Muslim. So all of them are scary, not just the browns and the blacks, but even the white converts, right?
8 people
The
killed.
act of terror.
Witnesses say the suspect shouting Allah Akbar.
Wajahat says news coverage also distorts our view of Muslims. When a Muslim commits a terrorist act, it gets 4 times the amount of newspaper coverage, according to a study done by Georgia State.
When it's a white terror suspect, the way it's framed, lone wolf, mental health problems, disturbed individual. Oh, he was a quiet neighbor. Flip. Muslim terror suspect. Immediately, politicians come out. Terrorism. Radical Islamic terrorism. Same exact type of terrorism. One gets called a terrorist, one gets called a lone wolf. What's the only difference?
Religion.
Religion. That's it. That is it.
He says our political leaders do the same thing.
The gentleman in Charlottesville drives the car a Hitler sympathizers deliberately at the hashtag Unite the Right rally through a crowd.
It takes a little while to get the facts. You still don't know the facts. You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Nazis, KKK, and the alt-right are very fine people.
But when a Muslim drove a car into a crowd in New York 3 months later,
So have to come up with punishment that's far quicker and far greater than the punishment these animals are getting right now.
The Muslim terror suspect is an animal and a terrorist, even though both committed the same exact type of domestic terrorism.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
Wajahat says this intensified 10 years ago with the election of President Obama.
He doesn't have a birth certificate, or if he does, there's something on that certificate that is very bad for him. Now, somebody told me that where it says religion, it might have Muslim. And if you're a Muslim, you don't change your religion, by the way.
The president uses anti-Muslim sentiment, Islamophobia, as a very potent political tool.
Yeah, and he's not the only one to do it.
I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation.
When presidential candidate Ben Carson said this, he immediately raised $1 million in campaign contributions.
And so Trump said, okay, well, this is working for him. Let me continue and let me double down now. And then Trump came out and said, I call for a Muslim ban.
Until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
And FBI statistics show hate crimes against Muslims doubled in the 2 years leading up to the 2016 presidential election. Things get worse for Muslims, not after a terrorist attack, but ironically, after an election cycle.
Not ironically, it makes perfect sense, because that boogeyman of Islam, that Molotov cocktail of using anger, hate, and fear against a minority, has been very successfully used in America.
It seems this kind of Muslim bashing is contagious.
I wish they didn't let you in the country. Excuse me? Huh?
I was born here. Obama's not in office anymore. We don't have a Muslim in there anymore.
"1,300 miles from the White House,
Hey, Miss Olson, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm gonna listen to your heart, okay?
Okay.
Dr. Ayaz Verji says he's felt the fallout of all the rhetoric.
Hey, Heidi. Could you just let our patient know from this morning that his x-ray was consistent with what we talked about?
He, his wife Mussarat, and their 3 children are the only Muslims in Dawson, Minnesota. Population 1,422.
Is it ready?
Okay, that was ready like an hour ago.
When they came here 4 years ago, they say they felt welcome.
We've had people ask us about halal because they want to host us, at their house.
But last year, when 60% of this rural county voted for President Trump,
I felt a tremendous sense of betrayal. Donald Trump said, in no uncertain terms, he wanted a Muslim registry. That's me. That's my daughter. That's my my wife. One of my sons had a friend of his came up to him and said, your mom's a part-time suicide bomber because she wears a scarf.
I saw this family that had come to serve people in rural America, and they're hurting because there's so many myths out there about what Islam is. And the people that I was serving in this church and in this community were unfortunately believing a lot of them.
So now Pastor Mandy and Dr. Verji travel the Midwest together, giving talks about Islam in churches and on college campuses.
We're going to do a quick exercise here. I'm going to read to you quotes from either the Bible or the Quran. And Jesus said, "Who are my helpers unto God?" The apostles said, "We are God's helpers. We believe in God. Bear witness, we are submitters." Who believes this is the Bible? Raise your hand. Okay, this is the Quran, chapter 3, verse 52.
I've had people come up to me and say, he saved my life. He's a great doctor, but he's going to burn in hell because he's a Muslim. That's an issue. And so there's still a lot of work to be done.
Dr. Verji is doing something Wajahat Ali talked about at the halal burger place back in New York.
I see an opportunity in this crisis. And you see Muslim Americans, especially my generation, say, damn it, we have something to contribute and we will be heard.
Among the loudest and proudest, young women, from fashion models to U.S. Olympians, challenging every stereotype of what it means to be Muslim.
I feel like people will look at me and maybe see, oh, oppressed. And they want to save you, and I'm just not here for that.
Hey, I am heading to Brooklyn to meet some very cool, young, hip Muslim women. When you think of a group of young feminists in the heart of hipster Williamsburg, Brooklyn, a group of Muslim women may not be the first thing that comes to mind.
Hi! How are you?
I'm Katie.
And yet, this is where 25-year-old Amani Al-Katakbe is launching a revolution from the headquarters of her tech juggernaut, a web magazine called Muslim Girl.
I mean, when I was 17 years old, it was an operation out of my bedroom, from my laptop, And I feel like they've created it into a movement. One about talking back, one about elevating our voices.
That landed her partnerships with cosmetic companies, on the pages of Teen Vogue and on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list.
We have over 50 women from different parts of the world.
I can say that in the past few years, I've definitely become more proud and been like, yeah, I am Muslim.
You'd say it with a lot more pride,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Amani and I headed to a nearby restaurant to meet up with a few of her friends.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you? Ibtihaj Muhammad made the 2016 U.S. Olympic team and then fenced her way to a bronze medal.
How are
you guys?
That's a very cool outfit.
Nadia is a fashion blogger who showed how to style headscarves on YouTube until she announced she would no longer wear one.
How are you?
How are you guys? How are you? I'm Mona.
Hi, Mona. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mona is a hip-hop artist who sings about racism, violence against women, and wearing a hijab. In some Muslim countries, women are required to cover themselves because of law or custom. For these young Muslim women, wearing a hijab is a personal decision.
I feel like people will look at me and maybe perceive or see, oh, oppressed. And they want to save you. They want to free you. They want to liberate you. And I'm just not here for that. Like, I am a woman of agency and intellect, and I can do that for myself.
Help people understand why some Muslim women, not all, Nadia is an example of not all, choose to cover their heads or wear a hijab.
So hijab in Arabic means to cover. I cover because for me, it literally is a way for me to wear my religion on my sleeve.
Your mom doesn't.
No.
And so you started to when you were 13.
That was me defying Islamophobia. But even Islamically, like, it's about us having the autonomy over our bodies, about how much we choose to put out there.
What about you, Mona?
Girl, that's a long. We could be here for hours.
I like when Mona calls me girl. Girl.
It's multidimensional for me, you know. Certainly, it's a spiritual practice, similar to meditation.
Is it so different for you because you don't wear a hijab?
I have to say that I experienced way more leniency from society not wearing it.
What is
you pass? Yeah, like, I don't feel like I fear for my life because I'm Muslim.
How are you all treated out in the world in general?
I came home the other day and I told my mom, I had an awful experience with the woman at checkout, and her behavior towards the woman in front of me was so pleasant, and she's like, don't touch anything. I was like, oh, I was just trying to help, and she's like, I don't need your help. So I'm not saying that this woman was upset. She could have been having a bad day.
But she was having a fine day with a woman before you. Did you say to her, hey, lady, I have a bronze medal?
Right. I honestly, I wouldn't, like, when these things happen.
Because that's what I would do.
But that's what makes me so verbal about what things that happen to me, because I want people to know that being a member of the United States Olympic team and coming home with the medal for your country does not make you an exception to the rule. And if these things can happen to me, not only can they happen to anyone, they do happen.
But maybe things are starting to change. From the world of sports to the world of fashion. Sisters Gigi and Bella Hadid have used their social media platforms to proudly identify as Muslim and call out Islamophobia. And new cover girl Halima Aden is walking the runways wearing her hijab. These are the faces of young American Muslims, out front and in charge.
When do we want it? Now!
They are running for office, taking care of our children, representing our country, serving our communities, and yes, healing from unspeakable tragedies. These are the Muslims next door. 7 years after Asif made fun of my idea for a Muslim TV show, look around. Muslims are everywhere. They're in Grey's Anatomy, Broad City, Quantico, Orange is the New Black, The Walking Dead, and even Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. From Aziz Ansari in the award-winning Master of None.
You don't wear the hijab? Why can't I have my interpretation where I'm just nice and I eat pork?
To Hassan Minhaj in his own Netflix comedy special. to Kumail Nanjiani's Oscar-nominated movie, The Big Sick. American Muslims are writing their own scripts,
Aziz Ansari,
telling their own stories, and creating a new narrative about what it means to be American, Muslim, and proud.
Hi!
Katie Couric, what do? Just wander around Union Station? How are you?
Here.
I came to Washington, D.C. to meet Asif Manvi, actor, comedian, American Muslim. By the way, I like the way you say Muslim better than I say Muslim. Will you teach me how to do that?
Muslim.
It's really in
some
the
people
S.
go.
I say Muslim. Like
oh,
a
you
Z,
you
Muslim.
say Z like Muslim.
But it's really Muslim.
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 Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Let's just keep saying that over and over again. See how long it takes for Homeland Security to show up.
Muslims, it seems, are at the center of our national conversation.
There would be no United States of America without us.
And our national anxiety.
People died because of Muslims.
Muslim.
Muslims.
Muslim.
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 Islam, as it is today in almost every Muslim country, is evil.
I think Islam hates us.
No wonder Kumail Nanjiani put it this way when he hosted SNL.
Islamophobia is really on the rise right now. You know, it never really went away, but it's really having a moment right now.
At the same time, a whole new generation of Muslim Americans are loud and proud and owning their faith.
I still rap my hijab, rap my hijab, rap my hijab, rap my hijab, keep swagging my hijab.
Peace and blessings.
Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. The Muslim population in the U.S., 3 million and counting. But only about half of all Americans say they've ever even met a Muslim.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Nice.
So I set out on a journey to meet the Muslims next door in America Inside Out. Asif Manvi and I crossed paths nearly a decade ago when Americans were deeply divided over whether an Islamic center should be built near Ground Zero. At the time, I suggested a way to bring Muslims into the mainstream.
Maybe we need a Muslim version of The Cosby Show.
I got trashed online. Thanks, Kimber Kofefi. But Asif went for my idea and tried it out on The Daily Show. So to start my road trip, I asked him to meet me in D.C. to attend the Values Voter Summit, an event organized every year by the Conservative Family Research Council. One of the many positions they champion, President Trump's tough stance on Islam.
What are your biggest concerns, Anna, about Muslims in this country?
Well, obviously there's the terror threat.
Worry about a threat to our entire legal system.
Their beliefs, like in the Quran, is like you should kill, you know, the minorities and whoever is not like you.
That's not in the Quran.
It's not?
No.
I think it is.
Sharia law takes away women's suffrage.
And the Constitution says very clearly no religious law can supersede the Constitution. So Doesn't it feel like that is a sort of, it's just a lie that Sharia is going to be able to take over America? It just can't.
I think if Sharia takes over America, then they're going to burn the Constitution because they don't care.
So you're talking about like a revolution?
Yes.
I could see how frustrated Asif was getting. So that same day, he and I went for a walk around the Jefferson Memorial. I wanted to hear about Asif's experience growing up Muslim in America.
I mean, it came up that I had a different religion than, but you know, I had friends who were Christians, I had friends who were Jewish.
He was 16 when his family moved from the UK to Tampa, Florida.
I never really thought of myself as being that different than anybody. You know, I was brown. I had a British accent, so I was a little English brown kid. You know, sort of like,
so you're a little more exotic,
I was a little more exotic, but I just thought it was a better way to get girls. You know, there was ever a feeling of like we're somehow not American.
Yeah. Pretty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Muslims have been part of this country from the very beginning. Jefferson fought for laws protecting freedom of religion and wrote that he believed this included Muslims. But as we walked in Jefferson's shadow, we talked about the day everything changed.
We have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City. It happened just a few moments ago.
Most of the hijackers were Muslim.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a difficult moment for America.
America changed. And the way Muslims were suddenly perceived in this country changed. Muslim became a dirty word. That's what I should say. Muslim suddenly became a word that you couldn't say in public. I think the message ultimately was that Islam and terrorism are somehow interconnected.
A violent jihad.
Jihad. Strategy of jihad.
Fight the jihad.
I had never even heard the word jihad before. I had to go look it up. It's not something that Muslims are walking around talking about all the time, like jihad, jihad, you know what I mean?
It also has different interpretations.
It has many different interpretations. Jihad is a personal self-discipline that you impose on yourself to find your own higher spirituality. You know, yes, one of the interpretations is to defend your land from foreign invaders. That is a jihad. But the fact is that we weren't sitting around talking about jihad.
Asif dealt with this new reality the way he deals with most things, with humor.
Traveling with babies and small children is never easy. But if you're brown, it can get a little intense.
Sir, please, spread your legs a little more, sir. Hold on, what's this? What's that ticking sound? Sir, is this homemade? Who packed your diaper?
But he says the pressure on Muslims intensified during the last presidential campaign.
There's a sickness. There's sick people. I will absolutely take database on the people coming in. I want surveillance of certain mosques, okay? If that's okay.
If you look at his wife, she was standing there. She had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say. You tell me, but plenty of people have written that.
There is a great hatred toward Americans by large segments of the Muslim population.
What's it like to be a Muslim in this country right now at this moment?
I think that we're in a whole new landscape now. I don't think this is like it has been before, and I think that there are people in this country who have been emboldened and empowered by this presidency that were in the shadows for a long time. Hatred, racism, prejudice, Islamophobia, it all comes from fear. And the fear has been ratcheted up right now.
Within weeks of taking office, the president doubled down on a campaign promise.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
Asif told me that for most American Muslims, the message was clear.
One of the foundational principles is freedom of religion and freedom to worship in the way that you want to in this country. And if you say, like, Muslims aren't allowed into this country, or Buddhists aren't allowed into this country, or Jews aren't allowed into this country, that you are undermining the very principles of what this country is about. It's not even as a Muslim. That's the American part of me that gets riled up about that, you know?
But when he saw how many people came out to protest the ban,
I felt like, oh, that's the America I know. When people go down there and they go, wait a minute, this is wrong.